Atlantic Television Network, anchoring facts.
Very good evening to you and welcome to ATN's Press Roundtable. Just like you know, the Press Roundtable is a convergence of media practitioners who dissect the news and current affairs and also provide the right narrative in news narration. And today on the Press Roundtable, we've got lots of conversations that you're going to enjoy this evening. Of course, you know we love to dissect our trending stories. And first on our list this evening, Tinubu picks Senator Shetima as his running mate. Now you recall that the place for Tinubu's running mate has been a back and forth. As a matter of fact, it broke out on the news that Tinubu and the APC were a bit confused on who the running mate of Tinubu would be. And then at the time, Tinubu also projected Masari to be his running mate, but again disclosed that Masari was going to be his placeholder. And just a few hours ago, Tinubu has announced Senator Shetima to be his running mate, who actually is a Muslim, and Nigerians have been clamoring, what is the APC doing? Should they be fielding a Muslim to a Muslim ticket in a time like this? The Christian Association of Nigeria has come out to say that this is not acceptable. The APC should have considered their own Christian religion as well to be able to balance the equation. But people are still asking, should politics be played based on religious? Based on religion rather, should it be played based on ethnicity? These are questions that people have been asking. Quite a lot of persons have been saying that it is important, or it is better that the best candidate emerges and then they win the election and also deliver Nigeria to a prosperous nation that we ought to be. Therefore, is the choice of Tinubu a good choice? Well, we're going to be dissecting it tonight, and we're going to find out from the perspectives of our guests in the studio this evening. And next on the story, we have Kwankwaso saying, tell Tinubu to take care of his health. Well, that's the direct message coming from Kwankwaso to the presidential flag bearer of the APC, saying Tinubu should take care of his health. Kwankwaso had mentioned that Tinubu is his friend, and therefore he's sending a message to him saying, take care of your health before the 2023 general elections. That is to say that Kwankwaso is bringing to our notice as Nigerians that perhaps the presidential candidates of the APC might be having some one or two health challenges, and then he's advising him, take care of your health. Do not stress yourself ahead of the 2023 general elections. Is the presidential flag bearer of the APC going to heed to his advice? Well, we do not know. But again, that is the word of Kwankwaso coming out, and then it's going directly to Ahmed Bola Tinubu. And the next on our list tonight, we have health workers knock federal government, threaten solidarity strike. This is coming as a result of ASU being on strike for over 5 months, and health workers are saying, come on ASU, it is time for you to call off the strike. Come on, rather, federal government, it is time for you to have a proper dialogue with ASU and put the pen on paper, sign the signature, let the students go back to school, because it is important. Students have been home for over 5 months now, and it's not a good thing. For every society to thrive, education is the bedrock, and if we're missing it right now in the educational sector in our nation, then something important is missing. And therefore the head workers have come out to say to the federal government, go ahead and have this conversation with ASU. Go ahead and sign the agreement with ASU so that students can go back to school. You remember this popular adage, when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. In this case, ASU and the federal government has become the both elephants. The grass would not be the students. And of course, you know, right now, the ASU and federal government are having a head-of-locks and the students are home. Salaries are not being paid, lectures are not being made. What is the way forward? And these are some of the questions that we were asking. Again, just like you know, we're going to be talking about all of this on the show tonight. But first, let's go on a short break. And when we come back, the conversation begins. And remember, we've got some amazing guests in the studio with us this evening. And when we come back from this break, we are going to be introducing them. And then the conversation will begin properly. Don't go nowhere.
Meet the people making the difference in our time on ATN Icons. Here, we present you legends celebrated for their heroism in different fields and serve as role models today. ATN Icons, showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook, Atlantic Television Network, YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram, Atlantic TV Network, Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. For sponsorship, 0810-634-1777. ATN Icons, celebrating the giants of our time.
The people, the candidates, the party, the campaigns. What really makes an election here? Enough of the rhetorics. It's time for issue-based politics. 2023 elections. Who are the candidates? What do you know about them? Take a seat, relax, and join us for the 2023 elections on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes, DTH, channel 194, or ATN Live on Google Play Store and all our social media platforms. Twitter is at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube.
And if you're just joining us, this is ATN's Press Roundtable. The Press Roundtable is a convergence of media practitioners who dissect the news and current affairs, and also to bring the right narration on the news. Before we went to that break, I told you guys that tonight we'll have some guests that are going to join us on the show tonight. And first, we have the editor, Eastern Herald newspaper, Carl Chinedu Ochebu. Welcome, sir. It is a pleasure to have you, sir. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Also joining me on the show tonight is the publisher and editor, News Angle newspaper and also News Angle magazine, Naya Oyema. Welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you, listeners, for being there.
Yeah, it is a pleasure to have you both on the show this evening. And of course, it is the public holidays that we have today and tomorrow as public holiday. We have our Muslim brothers celebrating the Eid Kabir, they celebrated on Saturday, and for that purpose, the federal government has announced that today and tomorrow is a public holiday. So I'm sure you enjoyed your holidays as well. So happy holidays to every Nigerian out there. And so let's move on to the first issue of tonight, where we have Tinubu picking Senator Shettima as his running mate. That the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, has announced Senator Kashim Shettima as his running mate. He announced this while addressing journalists in Katsina State on Sunday. The announcement came hours after Tinubu met with the President Muhammadu Buhari alongside Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State had on Saturday revealed that Tinubu had settled for a Muslim ticket. Tinubu earlier chose Ibrahim Kabiru Masari as a placeholder for the vice presidential slot. Addressing journalists on Sunday, Tinubu said a substantive running mate would replace Ibrahim Masari. And then when he was further asked on the substantive running mate, Tinubu said Kashim Shettima, is going to be the running mate to him for the 2023 general elections. Let me start with you, Mr. Oyema. Now, you recall that Governor Masari was actually fielded to become the running mate of Ahmed Bola Tinubu for the 2023 general elections. And just very recently again, Ahmed Bola Tinubu has come out to say no longer Masari. We are going to be having Senator Shetima to be my running mate for the 2022 general election. Do you think that is a good move coming from the APC at this point in time?
Well, Nigerians have seen the development in some quarters as shocking, in some other areas.
Yeah.
They see it as a welcome development. But I want to believe that APC should have known better. The body language of Nigerians, what they expect, especially with this kind of situation Nigerians have been passing through. They said two heads are better than one, and of course, having in that level of politics, people with diverse views, people that belong to different religious persuasions, so to say. So I think that APC would have done better when he first submitted the first list in Masari. A lot of people were thinking maybe he want to get things right, but he came out, going the same way. Muslim ticket is just like Nigeria have an unwritten constitution where you balance the legs, Muslim, Christian ticket, to ensure that no section of religion is suppressed. But I also listened to Bola Tinubu. He was talking about experience, talking about the pedigree of the person, and that brings me to the issue. Looking at the person of Shetima, would you say he's that kind of person under the coloration or under the description of Ahmed Tinubu? For me, I would say it is far from the truth. Why am I saying that? Shetima is part of Mudu Ali Sherif government in Borno State, and we all know that he's a key player. And of course, Mudu Sherif handed over to Shetima, as the next governor in Borno State.
When he said he was a key player in Mudu Sherif's government, what do you mean by that?
Yes, of course, he held a very significant position.
Okay.
Because it was. After him, the power transmitted to him. So where am I going? I'm going towards, the state, the headache Nigeria is having today is the headache of Boko Haram and insecurity. And I believe that if he's in that kind of mode, of a performer, somebody that can deal with issues the way they were, he would have been able to find a way to tackle that insecurity. We see it coming even in the Niger Delta. We saw what the previous governors of Rivers State were able to do, to address, insecurity. Today, no more militants. It has been addressed. So I believe that Shetima did not do well enough, to protect the interests of Nigeria. Because at that time, this Boko Haram was at a very tutelage position.
Was it within his powers to fight back the Boko Haram?
Yes, it was. Even he took over as the sitting governor, and he's expected. They say there are a lot of things he tried to do, but I think the body language did not reflect.
So
somebody with
in other words, he made some attempt in ensuring that insurgency was dealt with.
There was no result. If there's a result,
but there
were
attempts that he made. Now, I want to get that clear on records that he made those attempts.
Yes, the attempts were not good enough, and that is why Nigeria find themselves where they are. Right, so bringing that kind of person as vice, I don't think it is to the interest of Nigeria.
We'll come back to you again, and then we'll pick it up from here. But let's get the reaction of Mr. Carr as regards Tinubu fielding a Muslim as well to become his running mate, considering the fact that Tinubu himself is a Muslim.
Well, if you ask me, I will first say that the religious angle in Nigeria has been overplayed over time. Religion is a very private thing. There's no nexus between religion and statecraft. If you look at it critically, the first question we should be asking ourselves is not about religion. It's not even about where the person comes from. Competence. What are your track records? For me, there's nothing wrong if somebody picks a Muslim as a running mate. If you situate it vis-a-vis competence and track records, this thing are insignificant.
Don't you think that a certain group in Nigeria would feel unrepresented if we just do by competence alone and not representing their religious basis?
Yeah, the issue of representation simply is about governance, is about delivering development to the people. When you take out of office, what you simply say, out of office is simply, I'm going to protect lives and property of Nigerians. I'm going to move statecraft from where I met it to the next level. If if you look at it at another level, when you talk about Muslim, Christian, what does it really mean? We should be talking about how do we move this country from where we are now to the next level. I'll give you 3 examples.
Okay.
Malaysia is a Muslim country. Is it not developing?
It is.
Turkey is a Muslim country. Is it not developing? Last one, UAE is a Muslim country. Is it not developing? What the unfortunate thing we find ourselves inside Nigeria is that we see people who use a religion as a placard for their own selfish interest. So when it doesn't go their way, they raise a religious placard. Oh, they are doing Muslim, they are doing Christian. We should be looking at competence at this level now. We should be looking at how do we get out from where we are?
Therefore, talking about competence right now,
Yeah.
are you saying right now that the APC candidate, talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Senator Shetima, do you think that the both of them now have the competence to move Nigeria from where it is to where we expect to go if they have the opportunity to become president and vice in 2023?
On a personal level, I would say that they both are grossly incompetent to move this country further.
I'm sure you have certain reasons to that.
So we shouldn't even be looking at a situation from the religious nexus. We should be talking about what are these guys telling Nigerians? What are their blueprints to move us from where we are today? I've seen videos and I've seen footage of Tinubu talking about what he wants to tell Nigeria, what he wants to do with power. And for me, it doesn't even move anybody. The Shetima we are talking about, thank God Onyema also said it. Shetima's track record in Borno State was abysmally poor. I'll give you one example. A letter just surfaced from Ron Omokri on Twitter. Before the Chibok saga came up, the then Minister of State for Education wrote to Shetima, please find a way to stop the exams from taking place in that place. We have security reports that it will not be possible to gather people in those areas. He disregarded that. That was what gave us Chibok. And today, that saga has not been completely eliminated. We don't even know where some of the girls are today. So, let's get this. An intelligence brief ahead of an incident.
Mr. Khan, let's get it clear. Was that letter that was given to the then Governor Dan Shetima, was it on records?
It's on Twitter now.
No, we are saying it's on Twitter, but as of then, was it on records that there were security tip-offs that was given to the then governor?
Well, for now, I cannot say if he was, because I wasn't born at that time.
So, in other words, this basically could still be an alleged statement.
No, it's not an allegation. He has also come out to debunk it. But if you look at it critically, Borno failed under his watch. Before the 2019 election, half of Borno was overrun by the
bandits?
Yes, half. So, and okay, another good example is, look at what Zulu has been doing in Borno in the past 4 years. Then go back to Shetima's record in Borno. There's a yawning gap between these two. If, I don't know if Zulum is a Christian or a Muslim. If Tinubu had even picked Zulum as his vice president, I'm sure that a lot of Nigerians will be clapping for that. Let us look at competence and leave this religious thing, because it is a very divisive, self-serving agenda.
Now, where you're making your analysis, of course, you've stated the obvious that we should forget about religion and talk about competence the more. But when you're making your analysis, you made mention of certain countries, about 3 countries you mentioned. UAE was one of them, being Muslim countries, and they are thriving as much as they could. Are you insinuating as well that if Nigeria also becomes a Muslim country, that we're going to thrive more than we are thriving?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is this. Religion over there is not an issue. These 3 countries I mentioned now, I did it carefully. Because these are countries that, within a duration of about 50 years, moved their country from where they saw it. Today, these countries are world-class, first-class countries that people from here now go to that place to do their business. Are they not Muslims? They're also Christian countries that are also thriving. See, in those areas, religion is not an issue. It's about competence and what do you have to deliver.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Talking about competence and what you have to deliver. Because I think Bola Tinubu have also come out to say that one of the reasons why he had to pick Shetima to be his running mate is because he's not just looking at per se the religious aspect of it. He also wants a situation where the nation can be moved to a place of thriving. And Carl basically has mentioned, using his words, said the both of them are grossly incompetent. Let's pick it up from there. Do you agree with Carl on that statement?
Totally agree. I agree with him. They are not the kind of Messiah Nigerians are looking for. We know what we are looking for. And coupled with the fact that, look, like, I differ with his position because the religion thing, Nigeria is a secular state that is enshrined in our constitution. So there's a constitutional provision, freedom of worship.
Yeah.
It is there. So if there is freedom of worship, no section of religion should be put under pressure. And of course, if you've been watching the networks, you will see the kind of things that is happening within the Christendom, the attacks. The other day, the Owo Church in Ondo State was attacked, and a lot of people killed. If you go to Plateau State, you will see the level of targeted attack against the church. And that brings to concern that it's like there's a calculated effort to extinct the Christian community, which is not good enough. So that is why in this particular period, thoughts must be given. So that there should be checks and balances. So I think that religion plays a key role because Nigeria is a peculiar state, and also it is enshrined in our constitution. So there is freedom of worship, and there must be respect for different religions. You have right to worship whatever, but you can see the body language of persons, the militants, and a lot of them said they are Muslim. Fanatics and all of that. So these are things that gives a lot of concern, and we want a ticket that will be able to address all this. Christians shouldn't be under pressure. Muslims shouldn't be under pressure. Whatever kind of religion you want to practice, nobody should come against you, or for that reason, you should be killed.
Talking about religion again,
yes.
You also agree that in Nigeria we don't just practice 2 religions. However, we have the Muslim religion and the Christianity aspect being more pronounced. There are still other persons in Nigeria that are neither Muslims nor Christians. And now, what if these other people are also coming out to say we want to be represented in the national body? How would that be balanced?
What you should look at is the percentage. What is the percentage of each of these religious settings? When you look at the percentage, you discover that there are more in number, even though there are other religions, of course. So what most Nigerians are clamoring is a balance. It's just like in security. When you talk about security and you have it from one particular ethnic group becoming security chiefs across the board, what does that tell you? And sometimes they lack what it takes to deal with it. But if you have different people from different regions of Nigeria coming together to look at issues critically, there are areas an Igbo man can come up with an idea how to deal with the situation in the northeast, vice versa. So that's why we are talking about Nigeria should be a balanced nation. Where there is no opportunity for any group to submerge another.
However, we all agree that APC is actually just one party in Nigeria that has fielded both Muslims to be their running mate, both in the presidential angle and also the vice presidential aspect of the party. But again, we still have other parties who have also fielded their presidential candidates and running mates, and most of them as well. Some of them are not Muslim, some of them are Muslim Christian. So there could be a balance from some other parties. Perhaps APC had made their own decision and their choice and say this is what we want, and they are going by that. Okay, I think we're going to move on to the next topic tonight, because we can't really, we can't exhaust it. There's a whole lot to talk about there because of time constraint as well. Let's move on to the next topic this evening, where we have Kwankwaso saying, tell Tinubu to take care rather of his health. Now, the presidential candidate of the new Nigerian People's Party, Rabiu Kwankwaso, on Monday appealed to a TV presenter, Dr. Ruben Abati, to tell the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to take the forthcoming 2023 elections easy, noting that he should take good care of his health. Kwankwaso, who was reacting to a question on Tinubu's choice of Shetima, said, Bola Tinubu was my colleague in 1992. I was Deputy Speaker, House of Reps, and he was a senator. We had many political battles with him in 1999. When we were together, I was the governor of Kano and he was governor of Lagos State. We also worked together to form APC. Shetima was also my colleague as governor during my second term. He is a gentleman. He is a good man. I wish him well. But if you see my friend, this is where the whole thing is going to right now. If you see my friend Bola, tell him to take it easy, take good care of his health, and make sure of that, because I love him so much and he is my friend. This is a message coming from Rabiu Kwankwaso to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let me come from you, Carl, because you've been laughing and smiling about this whole conversation. Let us get your reaction quickly about the message coming from Kwankwaso there to Tinubu.
Well, if I want to react to what Kwankwaso has said, I will simply posit it within the realms of propaganda. They are running for the same seat. So he is also saying, well, my co-contestant may not be physically fit to run this race, so please tell him. But if you go deeper than that, Kwankwaso has also raised a very critical issue. The health status of every public officer in Nigeria, not just the president, is something of public consumption. We should know when you're fit and when you're not fit. When you're not fit, we should know what ails you. But you see, unfortunately, the president's what is going on now was started by President Muhammad Buhari. Throughout the 7 years, he was traversing from Nigeria to London to all the hospitals. Till today, nobody has told us what actually was the ailment. But in any other sane country, in any sane climate, if the president has a headache today, the press officers to the president comes out to the media and say the president has suffered a headache. Most likely they even have a doctor by their side to explain the nature of that headache. But here, the health status of police officers are just, in fact, it's more of a closed guarded secret than the official secret act. So you ask yourself, a man who wants to rule Nigeria, a man who knows the complexity of Nigeria right now, a man who knows the rot that has taken place in these past 7 years, should be able to come out and tell us, say, these are the issues I'm having health-wise. My doctors have advised me that I can still go on this race. Then it's left for other doctors to also come and analyze the data he has given us, interpret it and tell us, say, this man is fit to run. This man is fit to rule Nigeria. So there is no going back on that. Tinubu must tell Nigerians the ailments he has. They allow for public analysis and examination of those ailments. You can't just sit there and say, I want to be president. And meanwhile, you shuttle in and out. Where you go, we don't know. But we know it's medical tourism. It doesn't work.
Okay. And then, of course, Kwankwaso has also come out to say that if he doesn't win, or if he perceives that he's not going to win for the 2023 presidential election, that he's going to recommend Tinubu to become the next president. In other words, he's going to field his support to Tinubu. What do you also make of that?
Well, it's neither here nor there. In one clan is talking about advising him to take it easy. I think that's the area I wanted to even add my points. What he has said is like my colleague here have said. It's a candid advice, and I expect that Bola Tinubu should take it to heart and look at it, look at the merits, and see what to do to address that. You know why I'm making an emphasis on this is because I wouldn't want Nigeria to pass through what we passed through under the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, in and out of hospital and all of that. And a situation where Nigeria, elected a president that is expected to be ruled by president, all of a sudden is changed to presidency. Presidency is what we
It's a collective.
And that is henchmen, taking undue advantage, plunging the economy dry and all of that. I think that Nigeria should be able to address that. If the APC insists on feeding all of this, of course, Nigeria have right to look elsewhere, to see those who have the right health, the right ideas, and the right brain to take Nigeria out of the quagmire. I think that is what is.
That's what's sustainable.
It will make a whole lot of difference for us. I wouldn't want this presidency thing. I want to hear Mr. President address issues, in good health and talk authoritatively. Be on top of issues. Most times in Nigeria, Mr. President, with due respect, is not always on top of issues. You see a lot of media aides issuing statements and all of that.
I think it's also letting them do their job, to help pass the message across to the people of the nation.
But the on the president's table.
Well, it does. It does.
Yes, there's nothing like presidency. It's not as his table.
All right, so I think we're going to go on a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to launch into the next conversation this evening, where we have health workers knocking the federal government and also threatening a solidarity strike. When we come back from this break, we'll go into this particular conversation. Don't go anywhere. Remember, this is ATN's Press Roundtable.
What really makes an election year? Enough of the rhetorics. It's time for issue-based politics. 2023 elections. Who are the candidates? What do you know about them? Take a seat, relax, and join us for the 2023 elections on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes, DTH, Channel 194, or ATN Live on Google Play Store and all our social media platforms. Twitter is at Atlantic TV Net. Facebook and YouTube is at Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. Elections 2023 from Mondays to Fridays at 8 p.m. Election 2023. We the people have a stake.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honourables, you human trafficker. Honourables, you're a human
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
It's good to have you back on the Press Roundtable. Of course, the Press Roundtable is a convergence of media practitioners who come together to dissect the news and also bring the right narrative in some of the news headlines of the day. And of course, before we went on that break, we've talked about the choice of Bola Ahmed Tinubu to pick Senator Shetima as his running mate. And lots of Nigerians have clamored about that. My guests in the studio have done justice to that. And Mr. Carr was saying that it is important that we go for competence beyond religion. And of course, well, I think Mr. Oyema also agreed with Carl on that particular analogy. Yes, let us go more for competence. However, we should also try to bring a balance between the both religions. And then we moved on to talk about Kwankwaso's statement to Tinubu, saying that Tinubu should take care of his health. And he also went further to say that if himself, Kwankwaso, would not be able to win the election in 2023, rather, if he perceives that he can't win the election in 2023, that he will recommend Tinubu to become the perhaps the next president of the country, Nigeria. But again, our fingers are crossed, and that's why it's important. Before we move into the next topic this evening, it's important that every Nigerian out there who is of the right voting age should go and get the PVC, because it is your PVC that affords you the right to vote for your preferred candidate. It is your PVC that really gives us the right and the privilege to make the choice that we want in the forthcoming elections. Now, moving on to the third conversation this evening, we have health workers knock federal government threatens solidarity strike. Now, the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria has berated the federal government over the ongoing industrial strike in the country's public tertiary institutions. The union, however, backed the university-based unions in their industrial action. The union also says it will not hesitate to declare a solidarity strike in support of the unions if the government fails to resolve the issue within a reasonable time. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, the Non-Academic Staff, the Senior Staff Association of Universities, Teaching Hospitals, Research Institute and Associated Institutions, and the National Association of Academic Technologies had embarked on strike to press home their demands on the implementation of the Memorandum of Action signed in December 2020 on funding for revitalization of public universities. Now, other demands are renegotiation of the 2009 agreement and the deployment of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. The inconsistent issue of the integrated payroll and personnel information system on paid end allowances and non-payment of minimum wage arrears, among others. Let me start with you, Mr. Carl. ASU has been on strike for over 5 months now. And of course, Chris Ngige, who is representing the federal government, have been having meetings with ASU, and ASU having meeting with the federal government through its representative. And ASU had come out to say to us that about a few weeks back, they said they were ready to call off the strike the next day if only the federal government is willing to sign the agreement that they've made. Now, in other words, there has been a verbal agreement, but they need that agreement to be signed, on paper. But again, what do you make of the situation of ASU and the federal government right now, knowing that students are home and doing nothing?
You see, the whole issue of these strikes, these endless strikes, is quite unfortunate. We are looking at just these 5 months now that this current strike has been on. But this strike has been a recurring decimal.
Yeah.
For years now. If you look back, even right from when I was in university, this strike has been part of our culture. But we need to also interrogate properly what actually are the reasons for these strikes. There's this, I remember they call it IPPIS.
Yeah.
That the federal government insists should be. And the lecturers are saying IPPIS, we don't accept it. The lecturers also saying that we have another model that can work for us. But for some strange reason, the government keeps on insisting that it must be IPPIS. Let me tell you a little bit about IPPIS. Lecturers, for example, a lecturer who is on 300,000 salary per a month, under IPPIS, this month he may receive 250.
Okay.
The next month he receives 218. Another month he receives 270. Another month he receives 200.
Why will it be so?
There is no reason given to them on this fluctuation in salaries. And these people are simply saying that this is not working for us. Even if you have to deduct this thing, let us know the model you're using to arrive at how much are you deducting from us.
Yeah.
African government simply says no. This is the way we want it. This is the way it's going to be. That is just the simple understanding analysis of what this will matter. And if we say that the academia, that's where it has the eggheads.
Yeah.
That's why it has the most brilliant people. Why is the government simply not saying to let us bring down your model?
Yeah.
That we've been talking about. Let us even look at it critically. Will it work? Because okay, let us even try to implement it. Will it work? But the federal government simply sits down and stays put and say, IPs is the only way. It won't work.
And ASU is saying UTAS is what they want.
Let me also give you. ASU is only talking about IPPIs for now. But behind that, there is a whole fulcrum of other issues ASU wants to be addressed. Now the salaries, IPP is about salaries. What about the institution in the lecture rooms? What about the academic environment where the lecturers work? If you enter any normal university lecture room now, you shed tears. You ask yourself, students sit down on the bare floor. Students are in makeshift, gather blocks, put a long. Then, behind that, you also ask yourself, what is the percentage volume of our national budget allocated to education? UNESCO standard simply stipulates that for you to show that you are seriously dedicated to education, it should be more than 12.5%. Any reasonable country, there's no reasonable country that does not budget at least 20-25% to education. If you go back, I will take you back to Singapore and these other countries. I love these countries. Because in 1960, when Singapore got independent, same year with Nigeria. As at that time, education budget in Singapore was 1.5%. Under 5 years, they were able to push it to 12. As at today, currently Singapore dedicates about 30% plus to education. Because when you educate your people, everything will be added to it. As of last week, there was a tech show somewhere in Europe. Out of the 10,000 patents that were brought, China alone got 6,000 patents for artificial intelligence and tech or whatever. Is it not true education? So any country that does not want to fund education properly, want to compete to recycling competence, recycling insecurity. Those who carry go and shoot other bandits or terrorists, whatever, are uneducated people. Who are now manipulated by educated people who doesn't want the country to be educated.
In other words, there's still a level of educated people who are also part of the terrorists, per se. Because we won't just attribute it to people that are uneducated. I believe that there could be...
That as an example. A very insignificant amount of educated people manipulate uneducated.
Okay.
To do what they want because they don't want the country to move forward. But the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that no country can move forward if you don't dedicate a major aspect of your budget to education.
Let's come to you, Carl. Mr. Hiyema, rather. Education is being known to be the bedrock of every society. And here we are in Nigeria, having our students, our tertiary institutions shut down for over 5 months. And there are no solid moves being made. There are no projections that in the next 1 week or 1 month, the strike is going to be called off. Where does this leave us as a nation currently?
Well, taking a cue from my leaders, let me just say that it's unfortunate. The kind of strikes we've been having and the implication, you know, on the students' implication, even on the quality of graduates we produce. It's very unfortunate because of all these implications of strikes. You see graduates that can hardly even write anything meaningful. It's not good enough. But I think the situation should be put on a scale. Let there be a balance. Yes, while they are pushing to ensure that the facilities, the learning environment and all that is put in proper shape. But I think Nigeria, we are a peculiar kind of state. We should be able to look at ourselves, what could be done. I believe that it should be a gradual process. Having pressed your matter the much you have done, and you see that these people are not ready to shift grounds. And like my colleagues said, the issues of you know, moving up and down of salary scale. What does that mean? All those things is just to create room for corruption. You know, that is the only bottom line, to create room for corruption and all of that. So I think it's important for ASU to shield their sword because of the children that are involved. It will not be of service to do strike all through. You know, while you press, you return back to school and see how you manage the batches of students, let them move, impart some reasonable knowledge, and then you also pull back to come back and make your demands. So I think that way that things will move better instead of frustrating these students. Now a lot of students are losing their lives. They are at home. The implication, the social implication. A lot of them are now joining Yahoo, even Yahoo Plus. A lot of them are getting involved in armed robbery. A lot of them are getting involved in rape cases. And some of them are dying because of vices they are getting into. So these are issues. It's not, you just don't look only at one issue and then you say, so for me, I want to use this opportunity to appeal to ask, please see what you can do. Return back to class so that our children can go back to school, and you manage them over time by the grace of God.
But again, if they go back to classrooms right now, lots of persons might want to say the issue has not been completely addressed. It's unresolved, and so going back to the classrooms again, also to plan another strike.
No, let me.
You know, so that doesn't really paint a good picture.
Let me tell you. You see the kind of leadership we have. I think we have come to a very important matter. I heard you talking about you know, the voters card.
Yeah.
An opportunity have come. What it means is that this crop of leaders are not ready to listen to anybody. They are not ready to look at issues, analyze it.
But they've been having conversations again.
Conversations without action. You talk and there's no implementation. Nothing is happening. So what do? So you don't need to kill yourself. Well, let us advise us to please return back to school while efforts continue. And of course, you'll be able to mobilize students as we are getting to 2027. What we could not achieve, you know, in the previous years, maybe by next year, if we get the right leaders, if we get those who have the mindset to develop Nigerians, because I feel that you know, the body language might be towards, you know, putting majority of Nigerians under the platform of ignorance, so that to manipulate them, including during elections, you know, and of course it's even more dicey now, you know, to begin to use these students that are at home.
But again,
create electoral violence and all of that.
But again, don't you think? I believe that lots of Nigerians as well have been clamoring that we have the ruling or progressive Congress right now in the country, and then we have students at home. Don't you think that that could be a disadvantage to them, as against you thinking that it's going to be a means rather to help them win election in 2023? This could be a disadvantage to them, having that the students they're at home for about 5 months right now.
Well, for me, the students have been at home for long.
Yeah.
Let there be a way to reconcile.
Okay.
Reconciliation is for me, is the key thing.
Okay.
Because when you are talking to somebody and he's not ready to listen to you, what do you do? Do you kill yourself? Do you die?
Let's move on to Mr. Carr.
Yeah. Something to what you just said. You see, this matter is not. Onyema has advised ASU to shield the sword, listen, go for arbitration and negotiation, and maybe go back to the classrooms. But I also think that the federal government also ought to be advised too, and the political elites too. If you look at what played out during the presidential primaries, this amount that was on play, wouldn't it have solved ASU's problem?
Well, you know, these are individuals that these are individuals that are releasing the money right now, not the federal government.
Yeah, we know, but we know also, like in the case of the All Progressives Congress, most of the people that do that this money were also serving political officers.
Yes.
In fact, the Minister of State for Education also was among those who do that this money. So, what was he addressing the federal government? And outside that, let us also quickly remember there are some schools now that have a backlog. I don't want to mention the schools on air. There are some schools that have a backlog of 2 sets that have not been matriculated, but they have been given admission by JAMB. How do you go about that? That will any responsible leadership allow this kind of thing to play out? Even if your children are outside the country schooling, like always somebody say all their children are outside the country, but if you have a moral and social conscience, you still tell yourself that there are things we need to do and get it right. No reasonable country will even allow a school, a university for that matter, which is the apex of education, to stay at home for more than 2 weeks. No country that wants to develop allows that.
I think this is where we're going to end it up with the words of Mr. Carl Chinedu saying no country is going to allow, students to be at home at this point, knowing that, of course, education is the bedrock of every society. But again, this is all we can take on today's edition of the Press Roundtable. Thank you so much, Mr. Carl Chinedu, for coming on the show tonight. Thank you very much. And, of course, also thank you, Mr. Einaya Oyema, for also being on the show tonight. Thank you very much. And to all our beautiful viewers, thank you for staying tuned with us on the Press Roundtable. And of course, after now, towards 2023 comes up, that is another program that we're having right now. And it's going to be a program that will help educate you on the candidates for 2023 general elections. And after the 2023 program, we also have the global news coming up to you. And that is to help inform you of the happenings in the nation and in the world at large. You can, however, follow us on all our social media handles: Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network. Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. Do remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. I am Victor RK. Thanks for watching and do have a lovely evening.